Okay, the first literary concept that we're going to go over today is pure versus impure. Impure by definition, not pure, combined with something else, or tainted, or sullied. Shori, a vampire child from Butler's Fledgling, is one example of something impure. Shori thinks in a moment in the book, I bit hard into the side of his neck. He writhed under me, not struggling, but holding me as I took more of his blood. I took enough blood to satisfy a hunger I hadn't realized I had until a few moments ago. Noel Carroll's definition of impure, however, relates directly to Dracula. As he explains, Dracula has the property of being impure, where such beliefs are accompanied by the desire to avoid the touch of things like Dracula. In other circumstances, you can have the state of pure being described in, being described in an impure way, like the Platt in Frost's short story, The Prowl. It can be described as being purely impure. Frost explains as he describes the Platt. He could look like an animal, but he don't gain its powers. He was still him, whatever that was. Human-like, but decidedly not human. Beyond the category of human.
Is the categories of luminality and race. Luminality is a state of being in between. Shori was a vampire that belonged to an Inuit tribe. But Butler Shori was a hybrid, so she did not belong. And because of that, another part of the tribe actually exterminated her family, and because they didn't look at her as Inuit. You're not Inuit, he shouted. He slammed his palm down on the table, making it sound like gunshots. You're not, and you have no more business at this council meeting than would a clever dog, is what the man said that took her family, believing that she was not Inuit and she did not belong at the council meeting. She is between both race and human. She is vampire and human as well, which would lead into the race. All right. The race part is glass bottle trick. Hopkinson Samuel has a hatred for himself for being black. Never call me that, please, Beatrice, he says softly. You have to draw attention to my color. I am not a handsome man, and I know it. Black and ugly as my mother made me. With Sam the glass bottle trick, he hates his color so much that he turns into a monster by killing his previous wives because they become pregnant with his children. Sam is a typical white man trapped in a black body, revolted at himself, the abject.
Objection. Picture this. You're driving down the road and you see a glob of fur, feathers, and kind of spread across. You push your nose in against the window and then turn to your partner. Go, any clue what that was? You want to get close enough to see what it is, but yet you don't want to get anything on you. It's abject. Objection refers to the human reaction such as horror or disgust to a threatened breakdown of the distance, of the loss of distance between a subject and the object, and the pure and the impure. He was horrified at first and instantly incited. The hideous sea monster became abject to the crewmen, breaking down the barriers of what is and what should have been. Characters regard monsters not only with fear, but also with loathing, the combination of terror and disgust. Monsters can be described as extraordinary characters in our ordinary world, that resist a normal hierarchy through their liminality and our fear of becoming inferior ourselves. Monsters are incomplete.
A tool often used by authors and screenwriters is to objectify the monsters or even just characters in their works is categorical incompleteness and formlessness. Categorical incompletenesses can be two different types of things. They can be like the thing from the Addams Family, where they're, well, usually they're just missing a hand, but in this case it's missing something else. Or they can be a absence of some sort of classification. In Lark Till Dawn by Bart Anderson, you see this in the main character, Honeydew. She is quoted as saying, if a girl is going to cross-dress, she better do it in style. And she's actually referring to the suit and tie and fedora that she's wearing, and fact of the matter is she's actually a guy, so she's not really cross-dressing. She doesn't really form into any kind of category, and as people, we tend to like put things in a nice little order, and when they don't, they become abject and they're viewed as monsters. The next type of tool they often use to objectify their characters is formlessness. In Toni Morrison's Beloved, she's really trying to make a commentary on race and identity and a sort of loss of race and the diaspora that followed slavery and Civil War. And this lack of shape or identity in a lot of movies and books is the monster is shown as a gas or a blob, but in Beloved, she does it simply by not identifying who the ghost is or why the ghost is really there. And even when it takes on a corporeal form, she doesn't really say if it's the ghost of Beloved or if it's somebody else. This is kind of a way that she objectifies her. You know that it's a monster by the fact that we don't really know who it is or what it is. Wanted to leave you with this little note. If you have any questions, we'll be available after. Had to keep it kind of short. For good reads, we've got a lot in our works cited and annotated bibliography. Thanks for coming in.